So we are recording. I'm going to start to admit the students. Hi, welcome everyone. I am Christine Yanuzzi. I am the admissions officer for Rutgers Business School in New Brunswick. This session is for student engagement, mentoring, and careers, which I think is one of the most important things that we do. Yes, academics we know is very important, but you need to get engaged. You need to know about resources. So I am going to turn this over to my colleague, Matt Perrick, and he and his team of associates are going to bring you through the next hour. Please, if you guys, we have lots of students on with us, so you can ask questions, but I will let his team kind of lead you through and tell you how it's going to work. So go ahead, Matt, take it away.
Thank you, Christine. Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Matt Perrick. I'm the coordinator of student experience and engagement for Rutgers Business School. And we are here today to talk about student engagement at RBS. And excuse me while I just bring up my slides here. So we are here for student engagement and mentoring opportunities. Sorry, 1 second. Always in the way. So again, RBS, we're proud to have a dynamic student culture coupled with proud academics. Obviously, our rankings we're very happy about. Our academics, we're very proud of all the accomplishments our academic programs receive. But it's not just about academics, it's about your student experience while you're at RBS. So Rutgers University in and of itself has over 800 student clubs and organizations and over 80 Greek life chapters. The business school, we specifically sponsor over 20 different student organizations, as well as 2 co-ed professional fraternities. We also are affiliated with 4 residential living learning communities. So these are like-minded communities where you and your peers share similar interests. So that includes the Honors College, as well as honors programs, Douglas Residential College for our ladies, Business Discovery House, as well as an entrepreneurship living learning community. Those 2 of which you'll learn at a later session for LLCs presented by our colleagues in residence life. We also support many professional track programs. So while it's okay if you don't know what your major is, a lot of you do have that idea that this is something you really want to major in. So we do offer different professional track programs. Our Road to programs, Road to Wall Street for our finance people, Road to Silicon Valley for those interested in the cross between technology and business, Road to CPA for our accountants. We're just piloting Road to Consulting for our future consultants and advisory people. And again, of course, we do offer a Future Leaders Accelerated MBA program. Most of these of which you would apply to during your freshman year in the spring semester. So you can learn more about them in the fall, and then you would typically start the applications to these programs in the spring. So again, these are just a couple of our business organizations. I just want to point out that we cover all of our majors. RAMS, for example, is for marketing. VUSCA is the Rutgers University Supply Chain Association. We have accounting. LIBOR is for our finance people, but it's not just major specific. We also have specific cohorts of people. We have ALPFA, our Association of Latino Professionals for America, Ascend, Pan-Asian Leaders, the Black Business Association. We do cater to many demographics, as well as have different groups for all of our majors, as well as different general interests, such as our 2 fraternities, our honor societies. We have something for everyone. We also have a peer mentoring program. So the peer mentoring program connects incoming first-year students with upperclassmen mentors. This pilot launched just this year with about 150 students and mentors, but we will be having expanded capacity for next fall. This program is year-long, includes many trainings, social, professional events. We have a matching ceremony, year-end celebration, mentor and mentee training, networking, professional development workshops. We've done a lot of things, and this actually opened to both our Newark and New Brunswick students because of being virtual this year, it allowed both of our campuses to really interact with each other. Newark students got to meet with New Brunswick students, but within the program, you will be connected with a mentor from New Brunswick. Your campus mentor will be at the same campus as you for obvious reasons. Again, all incoming students, if you accept admission, will receive an email over the summer with application instructions, most likely a Google form for that. I'm going to turn it over now to my colleagues, Dean Rao and Hannah Salter, to talk about some of our professional mentoring programs.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining. First of all, congratulations on being accepted to Rutgers Business School. You've done great. You worked really hard through high school, and we are so excited that you're considering and hopefully joining Rutgers Business School soon. So one of the things you know already is that we have a world-class faculty, right, that are going to be teaching your classes. But I think what really sets apart Rutgers Business School and makes it one of those institutions that is a world-class business institution is the fact that we extend learning beyond the four walls of a classroom. We're also extremely fortunate to be in this New York, New Jersey metro area where we have thousands of Rutgers alumni working as executives and professionals in leading companies, and they're all invested in helping Rutgers students and Rutgers graduates succeed. So we really leverage those connections with the external business community in order to provide experiences that help give you real world experience while you are still studying and learning in the classroom. It's really critical to be bridging that gap between academics and industry. And truly that is what has been catapulting Rutgers Business School to the top of so many rankings that you might be reading about already. So what we have here, this list of what you're seeing in front of you is several mentoring programs that we've developed over the years in order to support your development as business students and future business professionals. It's also a list of programs that we've created to help build your network and get you professionally connected from your very first day on campus. So you'll be hearing, the format for today really is for you to hear directly from students that have participated in several of our mentoring programs, as well as our student engagement programs and student clubs and organizations. But I very quickly want to give you a little bit of context as to what we'll be talking about when it comes to mentoring. We have several small group mentoring programs in which, the one that's most relevant to you is our Gear Up program for first year students, which is led by several different professionals over the course of one semester. We have a dedicated one-on-one mentoring program, Team Up, which is our largest, most robust and dynamic one-on-one mentorship program that you'd be eligible for once you become a sophomore. That's when you get to work one-on-one with the business professional in the field that you are looking to enter. We have, more focused development programs, leadership development programs for women, as well as a few different programs at the MBA level as well. The reason why we have this variety of programs and why it's come to be this sort of portfolio of mentoring programs that we've created is because we really want to encourage a culture of mentorship, that you learn early how important it is and how much it's going to help advance you in your career and show positive outcomes for you, not only when it comes to your career trajectory, but when it comes to your salary, when it comes to work-life balance, when it comes to whether or not you get a promotion. You'll come to understand how important mentorship is in all of these different areas, because the research shows that if you've been mentored, you are going to have positive outcomes in all of these areas. We have elite schools that really, thrive on the connections that individual students have within their professional and networks. And so we think it's really important to be able to offer those connections and opportunities to every student at Rutgers Business School, no matter what their background is, and no matter the connections they may or may not have within their own families and friends. So this is our way of supporting and advancing you. And I know that, when it comes to looking at the success and outcomes and the impact of these programs, our students and mentors stay in contact with each other way after all of these formal programs have ended, which means that once you have a professional invest in you, they're invested in you for the long run. They're always there and on your side. So that is something to take advantage of. So I'm going to stop speaking and turn it over to Hannah, who is going to get into some of the details of these programs before we jump into the panel itself. So again, congratulations, and I hope you have questions for us later. Thank you.
Thanks, Sangeeta. So hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I know Wednesday evening is not always when we are feeling most energized, so I appreciate everyone being here. My name is Hannah Salto. I am the program coordinator for mentoring programs at RBS. So Sangeeta and I run all of the programs she just outlined. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a look into what our program offerings are. I'm not going to go too into depth because I think we can distribute this slide. You could check out our website for more information, but I just wanted to point out a couple of key things to keep in mind when you're considering your decision for college. So as Sangeeta mentioned, the most relevant group mentoring program that applies to you should you accept your invitation to attend Rutgers and RBS is the Gear Up program. So a lot of things are open to first years at the business school, but a lot of programs themselves that are a little higher level for high achieving students don't open until sophomore year. So Gear Up is a really good opportunity, like a jumping off point for your time at RBS. It really sets you up well for your not only academic success, but your professional success. So it's connecting you with professionals in industry already during your first year in college. And that's something that you'll learn is really valuable. So I just want to point out that if that's something that sounds interesting to you, should you come to RBS, that you should be on the lookout for emails this summer for fall semester recruitment. We offer this program both fall and spring, but it's always good to get your name kind of in the hat before spring semester, just in case you need to apply again. So it's limited capacity. As you can see, it's 10 to 15 students. So we definitely try to give students as much opportunity as possible to participate, but to keep it effective, we keep the group small. So around the July timeframe, keep a lookout for an email about this program if it's something that sounds interesting. Awesome. Matt, would you go to the next slide, please? Perfect. So Team Up, as Sangeeta mentioned, is our biggest program. This is another one that I just want to have on your radar for as you're considering where to go to college. Some of you may have already committed to RBS, and that's awesome. And some of you may not know yet, and that's perfectly normal as well. But I think that this program in particular stands out as something that might set RBS apart from other schools you're looking at. So mentorship is very important to us at the business school. So we offer a lot of opportunities to get engaged with this, but Team Up in particular, I have seen very high returns on the time investment that students spend on this. So it's a relatively low time commitment. It's a one semester, couple meetings, but the impact that it has on students working with a professional one-on-one is monumental. So I can't boast this program enough. I think that it's a really important thing to consider if you're considering going into business. It's always very vital to have mentors and sponsors in your corner as you're going along your professional journey. So I highly recommend keeping this program in mind as you're figuring out where you want to go and what is best for you as a student. And then the last program that we I'm going to highlight tonight is our Women Build program. So this, of course, from the name, you can tell is from our women identifying students. So this program is a leadership development program. And again, it's very impactful. It's a longer term program than our other programs, so it's more of a commitment. But this is for high achieving and motivated women at RBS from their sophomore, junior, and senior year to participate in. So you can see some of the program components listed here. There's a course component. Again, of course, mentoring is a component, both peer and professional. We have corporate sponsors for this program that come in and speak with our students and give you another opportunity for inroads into professional development and connecting with recruiters on a smaller scale than, say, a career fair where you're trying to stand out in hundreds of students. So again, just another great opportunity and thing to consider when you're weighing your options for where to go to college. And you'll be able to find all of this information on our website as well, which will show at the end of today's session. All right, so we could talk at you all day, and we know that's not what you want. So in the spirit of remembering back to when we were high school students considering where to go to college, we always wanted to hear from the students themselves. So we're actually going to spend most of the session today operating a student panel. So we have 4 rock star students that are currently at RBS and involved in these programs who are here and going to share their experience with you. So we have a variety of questions. Matt, if you don't mind, we can stop sharing and then maybe spotlight our 4 students. So we have a variety of questions that we're going to ask them. But I also want to welcome everyone else to interject with questions. So if you have a question, please raise your hand in the Zoom. We'll call on you. Put it in the chat. We'll make sure to get to it. We want to hear what's relevant to you. So we've prepared some things that we think will be helpful. But if you have questions right off the bat, feel free to interject and ask them. This really is for you. So we will ask a couple of questions, have them introduce themselves. And then, like I said, if any questions come up on your end, feel free to ask them. Awesome. So thanks to our panelists, of course, for being here. These students are some of my favorites. So I can't say that, right? Oh, shoot. No, I love all my students, but it's very nice to have these students come and share their experience and expertise. So first, let's just start off with the basics. If you could introduce yourself, share your name, your year at RBS, major, any concentrations you have, and then kind of an overview of your involvement on campus. And whoever wants to start can start. If you want to go in order from Kushi, Olivia, Soham, and Jay, that's fine. But whoever wants to go for it.
Sounds good. Okay, so I can kick things off. So hi, everyone. I'm Kushi. I am currently a junior, and I'm double majoring in BAIT, which is Business Analytics and IT, and Marketing, and I'm doing a minor in Women and Gender Studies. In terms of my involvement on campus, I think I was a part of a few of the mentoring programs that were mentioned earlier in this presentation. Obviously, the Women Build program that I'm in with Olivia. I'm also was a part of the Team Up mentoring program. And then in terms of the organizations, I am a part of Phi Beta Lambda, which is, if you're part of FBLA in high school, it is basically the collegiate level of that. I'm part of the Beta Gamma Sigma Honor Society. And honestly, I feel like there's so many ways to get involved on campus. I could go on and on, but those are just a few of them. And I can pass it over to Olivia.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kushi. It's so good to see you virtually. So hi, I'm Olivia. You guys can call me Liv if you have any questions. I'm a senior majoring in finance and minoring in economics. I'm going to work at the bank in New York Mellon, but during my time on campus, I was involved in lots of mentoring programs. So the Team Up mentoring program, Women Build mentoring program. I also had the opportunity to work for the Rutgers Center for Women in Business and the Deeds in Business office. I'm involved in the Rutgers Undergraduate Women in Business Club. And then outside of the business school, I'm involved in a Panhellenic sorority. So obviously, lots of different jobs, lots of different clubs, organizations within RBS and outside of RBS. There's great opportunity to mix and match and find what fits best for you. And with that, I'll pass the mic over to Jay.
Hello, thank you, Olivia. So my name is Jay Tucker. I'm currently a freshman at Rutgers Business School, planning to study marketing and supply chain management. To speak about my involvement on campus, I'm a part of the Rutgers Association of Marketing and Strategy Club. I'm also a part of Charity Water, which is a community service-based organization. And I'm also currently a student ambassador for the Center of Women in Business. And in terms of mentoring programs, I've been involved with the Gear Up mentoring program that we spoke about a little earlier. And I'm also a part of the RBS peer mentoring program that's for first year students. So yeah, I can pass it off to Soham as well.
Awesome, thanks Jay. As Jay mentioned, my name is Soham. I'm a sophomore at the business school and I'm majoring in finance with a minor in psychology. And just to talk about a couple more, I guess, things I'm involved in on campus. So with Cushy, I'm involved with Phi Beta Lambda, which is the extension of FBLA. I'm also part of a co-ed business fraternity, professional one called Phi Chi Theta. Also involved with Beta Gamma Sigma, Road to Wall Street, and the SAS School Honors Program. So happy to answer any questions about that as well. But back to you.
That's awesome. Thank you all so much. It's really interesting to hear the range of things. And I know Matt kind of highlighted how much there is to do. And I think another important thing to note is you can have a range of experience levels in everything too. So, you know, a lot of these students are leaders in their organizations, but they may also just be participants in others. So that's an important thing to remember is maybe you want to have a leadership role in a certain program, but you still want to go to the events for another. You can be involved in as many things as you want. And of course, you have to learn to manage your time. But it's nice to be able to parcel out that experience and, you know, decide which you want to be kind of a leader in and which you want to be a follower, because that's equally important as well. Awesome. So let's move on to just kind of a generic question for all of you. What do you enjoy most about the RBS campus involvement opportunities?
Kick it off, I guess. I think for me, what I really love about the organizations at RBS is that they really cater to pretty much any possible interest you have, whether that be, you know, honestly, it could be professional or it could be more for like a social aspect. So I think that's the really special thing about it. Whether it be if you're interested in marketing, you could go into, you know, the club that Jay mentioned. If you're interested in finance, we have a club for finance and people who want to be investment bankers and things like that. So there's really a lot of opportunities. And I think that's what really makes it stand out. And you can kind of cater your experience at RBS to what you want it to be.
I love that answer, Kushit. I completely agree. When I was, you know, 4 years ago in your shoes, thinking about where I'm going to go to school, I had a lot of conversations with, you know, whether it was my family members, professors, and other students about, you can make a big school small, but you can't make a small school big. And so Rutgers is a big school, but RBS, helps to create a smaller community and foster those closer connections. Every club and every organization you join helps you to meet and cultivate those community and those connections with people, and really help you not only to, you know, meet potential coworkers or potential students, but also form those lasting friendships. I know we had a question, and I'll add this into my response. As a transfer student, which clubs do you recommend getting involved with at Rutgers? And I think that's a really personal question to you. You know, what are you passionate about? What wakes you up in the morning? What gets you motivated to start your day? Think about, you know, whether that's major specific, whether that's an interest group, an aspect of diversity and inclusion. How can you use your interests to help you fit within Rutgers and define your experience?
Yeah, I think just piggybacking off of that answer a little bit and adding a couple more sentences, I think the biggest thing is flexibility and inclusion. And I think those are honestly important things, right? Where you have, as Olivia said, a big school. The fact that there's so much flexibility, and just to go like a little bit into my background. So when I came to Rutgers, I actually wasn't a finance student. I was a bio major. And when I transferred into the business school, I was really like welcomed with open arms. Every organization was just like, hey, like come on in, we'll have a home for you. And it was really just a chance for me to fit in very quickly and make Rutgers feel like a home that I could be a part of very fast, right? So I think also going back to the transfer student question, I think it really comes down to just putting yourself out there, and you really have a home wherever you go. So just put yourself out there. There's so many different chances to make a big school feel small, and really a home for you in no matter where you want to go.
Yeah, I agree. And just like add on as well. Being a freshman, I know like when my last semester, I was really scared and joining different organizations, right? Because I was like, no, it's my first time at Rutgers. I'm still a freshman. Like I'm not sure what to join. And I think what Soham was saying about how putting yourself out there is very important. Although it may be scary at first, you'd be so amazed to see how many organizations that Rutgers Business School provides. And you have so many opportunities for like being a freshman to get involved. And I think that once you do get involved, you kind of get a better understanding of yourself, your interests, and whatever else you want to do in the future as well. So I think definitely putting yourself out there, and then also, understanding what you like as a whole.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's super nice to hear. I think, the diversity of options, but also the community. It's like there's something for everyone, whatever you're interested in. At Rutgers, there's something for everyone. At RBS, there's things that are specific, not only to major, but also your interest areas. But there's a place for you too. And I think that that's something that's very important when you're thinking of where to go to college. There's a place for you within the business school, but also the greater Rutgers community. There's a lot of places to find, groups of people that you connect with. So I think that's important to keep in mind, whether that's within the business school or, and your greater experience at Rutgers. I see another question came in the chat, and thank you all for asking questions. I appreciate the engagement. Are there any clubs and organizations that are harder to get into than others when starting out as a transfer student, or just in general, I guess, as well for the people who aren't transfer students? What has your experience been with that as students?
I can kick this question off. So within Rutgers Business School and within Rutgers, as you heard Hannah and Matt, Dean Rouse speak about, some of the mentoring programs, some of the Road to Wall Street, Silicon Valley consulting. Those are programs you're going to have to apply for. So that's going to involve sending in an application. That's going to involve potentially an interview process, recommendations. So those are considerations to think about if you're going to join a professional or social fraternity or sorority. There'll also be a recruitment process. At the same time, it is a welcoming process through all of the mentoring programs and all of the professional organizations. It's really just trying to get a feel for who you are and what your fit is. On the other hand, there's tons of clubs, like, for example, if you're interested in finance, LIBOR, if you're interested in marketing, RAMS, when you can walk in on day one and get involved. So it comes down to, what is the time, effort, and energy you're looking to put into an application process versus do you just want to get the ball rolling when you start?
Yeah, I think that's a great answer, Olivia. And I think for transfer students, you have a little bit more experience with college workload. So you may be, ready to handle like the GPA requirements that come in with some of the programs and be more familiar with that. But for those of you that are also coming in just as traditional first year students, GPA is a big requirement for a lot of the things that do require a little bit, application, things like that, invitation to apply. So that's something to keep in mind is you also don't have to jump right into everything during your first year in college. Try some things out. You don't need to be the president of everything right away. It definitely is a little different experience than in high school. I'm sure many of you were leaders in high school, and that's great. And it will likely translate into college as well, but it takes a little bit of time to get reestablished. So don't worry about doing everything. And also just focus on the college experience of, getting used to the academic load and kind of the material that's a lot more specific than maybe you experienced in high school. So I think that that's another important thing to note when you're thinking about wanting to get into these, that GPA is often a big factor. So try to be intentional about that as well. Soham, I see we have a question for you, our superstar. Is there any major advice you'd give someone who is interested in the Road to Wall Street program?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And thank you for your question, Antonio. Appreciate it. I would say there's a lot of great things, right? And I think it really boils down to two things. And I would say one is having kind of a hunger to learn, always be eager to learn, always be willing to kind of pick up something new and understand what is it really about and stuff like that. And I think the Road to Wall Street program is really designed for people who want to dive deeper within finance and get those coveted front office finance jobs, right? So really one of the key components is being very hungry to learn. And I think that's an important quality. And I think that's something a lot of people have and a lot of people should continue nurturing. I would also say, in terms of tangible advice, the biggest thing we say is just reading the news. I think keeping up with the Wall Street Journal, keeping up with the New York Times, watching CNBC, or whatever news channel you might like the best. Just know what's going around the world, have an opinion, maybe talk to your family members or your friends, or just keep up to date with things, And I think that really goes a long way when you're interviewing for the program. And just in life, when someone asks you a question about anything, it's good to be knowledgeable and also being humble enough to understand, hey, there's another perspective. I'd love to learn more about your thoughts, So I would say that those are the main things. Happy to go into more detail, but that's, I would say, the main two things.
That's awesome. Thank you, Soham. Yeah, I think you'll learn that part of your academic journey is also staying up to date on business topics and happenings. It definitely is an important part. I mean, I think for any major you choose to do, but especially in business, you got to be up to date on what's going on so that you know what's going on in class, because there may be something on your syllabus and then something happens with the stock market and your professor's like, yeah, we're going to move that and talk about this instead. So it's good to be in the know about what's going on. All right, we have another question. What is something you wish you knew when first coming to Rutgers in regards to clubs and college life? Great question.
So I'll jump in. Oh, Kushi, please.
Yeah, okay, real quick. I think for me, something that I knew I was going to face before even coming in to Rutgers, because when I was in your shoes 4 years ago, I think events like these really persuaded me to come in the first place. But I knew that I would have a lot of opportunities, and I knew coming in that I already have difficulty saying no to opportunities and being able to prioritize. So again, that's a good thing and a bad thing, because I think the bad thing is that it comes down to you, right? Figuring out, okay, this is what I'm interested in. This is what I want to do professionally, or this is what I want to do for the social aspects of my life. So being able to take all these clubs and classes and everything, and then being able to kind of rank them and figure out, okay, this is what's important to me, because honestly, you come on campus, you will have 100 different ways to get involved and be parts of different committees and things like that. So you have to it really boils down to what you're interested in. So I think in retrospect, I would kind of take more time so that I'm not spreading myself too thin, because once you're part of an organization, it's really important to kind of dive deeper, get more involved. So you don't want to be overcommitting yourself, but again, just a heads up, you will have lots of ways to get involved. So be ready for that mentally.
I love that answer. And so I'm going to build off of it. There's a really involved alumni or alumna, Candace Say, who works at Goldman Sachs. And she has a saying, you can have it all, but not at once. So don't be afraid to put boundaries on yourself, to give yourself the time and space to focus on one activity or one concentration at a time. And as Kushi said, really take the time to dive into it. Something that I've done, I'm very passionate, and I've been able to uncover my passion through clubs and activities for women's business leadership. So I've gotten involved in a job that focuses on that, a club or activity. But that wasn't something I was super involved in the front part of my college experience. And so 4 years, they often say it goes really quick. As someone who will be graduating in a month, it does. But in the moment, you got a lot of time. So take the time, let yourself have the journey and pace it as a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, and just to add on to like a more like a comforting aspect as well. I know as I said, like I'm a current freshman, so I think it's very welcoming to understand that most of the people, well, not even most, all the people that you guys will meet at Rutgers in terms of organization and clubs, like they're very understanding of, you being a new person in Rutgers and the Rutgers community at large, right? So although it may be daunting, it was very comforting knowing that if I had any questions I could ask, whether I had upperclassmen friends, professors, advisors, the mentoring program coordinators, members of like the clubs that I'm a part of. I think it was very comforting, and it kind of made me feel more at ease with the whole transition from being a high school student to a college student, right? So I think that was definitely something I wish I knew, because it kind of released a lot of stress, at least on my end. And I know that even now when I join new clubs and organizations, I know that I'll be welcomed with like open arms. So I think that's definitely something I wish I knew as well.
And if I might add just one more thing, I think just like being honest, right? Like when I first came to college, I was so confused. Like I had no idea what I was gonna do. I had no idea what to join. I came from a big school and I just honestly was lost, right? I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my time. And I think the best advice I can give you is just be open to everything and just be willing to like put yourself in conversations. And I can't tell you how many situations I've been in where people have wanted to help me so much. Like professors have came up to me and tried to help me out, and just members of organizations be like, hey, like come on in, like let me introduce you to this organization. Or hey, like a professor would be after class be like, hey, like I think you'd be a great fit for this club, go check it out, or something like that. So just be open and just go check out those things, because I really feel like there's Rutgers, the one best thing is there's so many different paths to go down, and all of them like connect together. So just like go and explore and like have fun and just explore what you're interested in, because this is the time to like just figure it out. So that's my advice.
Those are all great insights. Yeah, I think in high school, everybody thinks they know what they like. And then as you grow and evolve, you get new hobbies. So also, if you think that you might not like something, I'd say try it out. There's no harm in going to an event that you don't know much about. I think that college is a great time to explore and really learn who you are and what you like. There's so much out there that you probably don't know about. There's so much out there that I still don't know about. So I think having a curious mind and a willingness to try things will really benefit people, as you enter college. So keep that in mind as well. I also just wanted to make a quick note. My internet kicked me out a little bit ago. So Matt, if I disappear, I'll hand it over to you preemptively. But we'll see if it holds out for me. We all know how this work from home business is going. All right, so let's, I want to change gears a little bit just to talk about mentoring. So of course I have a vested interest in mentoring, but I also really see the benefit of mentoring and really believe in it, which is part of why I do the work in it. I would love to hear from all of you or some of you how mentoring has impacted your college experience so far, and your professional development.
Yeah, I think I can definitely kick this off if that's okay. Really being a part of several organizations like Road to Wall Street or the Honors Program, or even the professional business fraternity I'm part of, there's been so many opportunities just to get mentored, right? Or even serve as a mentor. And I think it goes both ways. It's really a two-way street. And I think things like Road to Wall Street, one of the best things is you're assigned senior mentors outside of college, you're assigned to upper level executives who become your mentors. And even in like the professional business fraternity, all our alumni are invested in us, right? So you really have a chance to have people who are invested in both your personal growth as well as your professional growth, and really just want to make an impact in your life. And I think perhaps that's one of the greatest qualities. And I agree with it. There's really a lot of benefit in mentorship. And it also goes the other way, right? It's like once you become, say, an upperclassman or something, there's so many opportunities to help out underclassmen or just be there for them and just have a key stake and just pushing them personally or professionally. And I think those are great things to keep in mind.
I think adding on to that, when it comes to mentorship, I think what surprised me the most was how willing everybody is to share information and how willing everyone is to help. Because I know that coming into freshman year, again, you are confused about, okay, is this what I want to do professionally? Is this what I actually want to do in life? Everything seems like a bigger deal than it actually is. So for me, being a part of, just let's say I started off with, just team up. With team up, I was able to find out, what area of what sector I wanted to go into within business, what types of clients I would be working with and things like that. So having that professional insight was so useful for me, and talking to an actual person who worked in the field I wanted to work in at that time, I think that was really useful for me because I was able to figure out, okay, this is what I want to do, or this is what I don't want to do. These are the skills I need. These are the skills that I still need to learn. So I think there's a lot of benefit in terms of that professional help you get. But, as Soham mentioned, in terms of, for his fraternity, he has like alumni and seniors who are interested in, helping these incoming freshmen and sophomores. I think you learn a lot from your peers, and that supportive community at RBS is something you can find very easily. For me, I found that in the Women Build program, specifically because I think I've always been interested in women in leadership, but I learned a lot, not only from the professionals who came to speak to us, but also from the peers in my class. Olivia interned at the company I interned in last summer, the summer before me. So I was able to learn a bit more from her. So I think there's a lot of learning that goes on. And I think that's really what, there's a lot of pride in the mentorship programs at RBS, and rightfully so, because they're super, super useful for the students.
Yeah, and
Go ahead, Jay.
yeah, sorry. Just to add on, I know we spoke about the professional mentoring, but also being a part of the RBS peer mentoring program, especially as a freshman, and being paired with someone that's an upperclassman. I think although you do definitely get the professional mentoring in terms of different internships that they were involved with, it's very understanding and very interesting to see what you have in store for the rest of your years at RBS, right? Being an upperclassman, they understand what the different opportunities that you can get as a freshman and onwards, and having that experience and speaking to a mentor and getting that one-on-one connection can really allow you to understand, although I'm a freshman right now, I have so much left to understand and learn from being at RBS. So definitely in terms of the more personal mentoring programs, being the peer mentoring program, I think that's definitely one thing that I've really taken personally, and really used to grow as a freshman, and now going to my sophomore year as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I agree with what all of you said. And I think, there's a saying that I'm sure everybody has heard. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And I always say it's what you know and who you know, because of course you can know somebody, get a job, and then do a terrible job, and you'll probably still get fired. So I really think that mentoring is just a good partnership with your academic learning. It's a really good way to expand on what you're learning in the classroom, as well as all these other involvement opportunities. The more that you participate in outside of the classroom will just continue to expand your learning beyond those four walls. So, and I think having a mentor to guide you, whether it is an upperclassman from the peer mentoring relationships that you have, or a professional who's in a job that you could one day envision being in. It's all really useful and impactful. So I think we lost Olivia too, so I'm not the only one having connection issues.
I was just about to jump on and say I'm back.
There she is. Hi. Welcome to the world of virtual learning, everyone. So One thing I want to ask about too is, so high school and college are very different. I think a lot of people have, this expectation that in college you have a lot more free time. And in reality, you do, because you have less classes or they're for shorter periods of time, but you have maybe more commitments that fill that extra time that you gain. So I'm wondering what advice you have for, students. How do you balance your classes, your schoolwork, your life, and all these extracurricular opportunities that you're involved with? How do you start to manage that? And what's your advice on that?
I would say make Google Calendar your best friend early on, because you will be using it a lot, especially because, well, at least coming into freshman year, you have all these club meetings that are in person, which might be on different campuses. So you have to basically plot everything, not plot, but like you have to schedule out time on your Google Calendar or any calendar that you use to figure out, okay, from this campus to this campus, it's going to take me 40 minutes during rush hour. So there's no way I can make this club meeting in time if I leave at this time. What time do I want to have dinner at? Do I want to go to like a fitness class at Werblin or any other gym? So there's so much. So I think being able to balance that and visually seeing it for me personally has worked with Google Calendar. And I love how it gives me like reminders for like, oh, this is coming up in 20 minutes, so that I'm mentally prepared for the next thing. Overall, it just helps with organization a lot. Because you'll notice very quickly that you will be managing a lot of things at once.
I totally second that answer, Kushi. I think the biggest advice is time management, use of Google Calendars, agendas, to-do list, but also be flexible and be adaptable. I think if anything we've learned during COVID-19, you got to be on the go. And so whether it's grabbing your laptop, grabbing your phone, being able to work from home, being able to work out of RBS, if you're going from a class on Bush, as Kushi said, to Werblin and getting on a bus, going to Livingston for a class there, think ahead so that you have everything you need for your day from when you wake up in the morning to when you go to bed at night.
Yeah, and just to add on, I think definitely like, understanding how to prioritize tasks for sure. Whether it be like through, time commitments, if you have an assignment due at 11:59, get that done first before you work on anything, or whether it be personal importance, depending on what it is, like being able to understand what should be prioritized is definitely something that'll help you in the long run. I think also being able to divide up your tasks for sure. So I think this is one thing that I've done, like, with college, you get a lot of different readings that you have to do. And I think being able to divide up tasks in general is definitely more helpful because you'll understand that you'll prevent yourself from burning out. And I think that's a great thing to start as soon as you start in college, being able to divide up your tasks for sure. Yeah.
If I can add just one last thing real quick, I think a great thing about it is honestly, you really have so much support from the school. And whether that is through the learning centers or just the tutors that are on campus or just people who want to help you out, I think the thing that makes balancing the things, the activities and all this stuff the most easiest way is just reaching out when you need help and really just understanding that people are there to support you. And that support structure is the most crucial thing ever. And I would say that's partially the reason why I chose to come to Rutgers in the first place is there's such a great support system. And I knew that if I was going to do a lot of things, having people who would keep me on track and, just making sure that I was doing the right things at the right time was such a big deal for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, those are all great points. I think you'll learn that in college, time management and life, really, time management will become your best friend. It's a skill that you start to hone in high school with all the things that you're juggling, but once you get to college, it really becomes apparent that you need to do that. And there are people on campus who can help you with that. I also agree, with Jay. Sometimes it's like, okay, can I put off that shower or do I need to take that shower? Like I got some looks, I think I need to take it. So, whether it's your homework or just your life, you're like, okay, and don't forget to eat. So, and then as well, I think the support system is very true. And something that I'll encourage all of you to do is advocate for yourself. There's a lot of support staff here that want to help you, but we also work with a lot of students. I mean, I touch base with hundreds of students in a semester. So I won't know what you need unless you come and ask me or send me an email or come to my office and say, I'm struggling with this. Can you help me? Or who can I talk to about it? So definitely make sure to advocate for yourself. We want to help you, but we need to know what you need help with. So that's a really important thing, I think. I wanted
Hannah,
to.
I had a point.
Yes.
I had a light bulb moment. So I was recently talking to somebody who sat on the Rutgers Board of Trustees. So as I'm sure you're beginning to notice, our alumni, our leaders at our university want to be involved in your life. And he spoke about what really differentiates Rutgers students when they enter the workforce, specifically RBS grads. And that's our grit, that's our tenacity, that's how we know how to ask the right questions, how to advocate ourselves, how to make our lives better. That when you're comparing yourself to a student from another school, you're not going to necessarily have that Rutgers spirit. And that's going to be what helps you make moves in your life starting the day you come to Rutgers.
Yes, absolutely. That's a phrase you'll hear a lot, I think, from alums, recruiters, is the grit that Rutgers students have. And that's something that does not come easily to a lot of people. So definitely a trait to be proud of. I want to make sure that I get to any questions that anyone might have. So does anybody have any questions before I ask another one? Either you can raise your hand, unmute, or put it in the chat. I'll wait a little bit and see if anybody's typing anything. Okay, if you do, like I said, always feel free to interject. So we're getting close to the end, and I want to leave time to show everybody where to go for further resources on this. But I want to ask one last question of our panel. And this is just something that I was thinking of. It's not, something that I predetermined for the panel, but you all were high school students making this decision at one point, not that long ago. What do you think stands apart about Rutgers that really swayed you, and that you think that they should be considering as they make this decision?
So I'll kick this question off. I distinctly remember having a conversation with my parents about the location of Rutgers compared to other universities. There was no other Big Ten public university that has the proximity to the New York metro area, to the financial district like Rutgers. And that is a huge selling point for everyone on this panel. And it should be a huge selling point for each of you.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna definitely springboard off that as a finance major who's looking to go into investment banking. Like, the location really matters a lot, and having access to the city, having access to professionals, honestly, that's like the best thing, right? I would also add a couple more points, and I would say really flexibility and welcomeness is huge. If you were like me and coming to college, you had no idea what you wanted to do, or even if you have your entire life planned out, either like ends of the spectrum, right? You really have the chance to explore a lot of new things. You have the chance to, like, if you want to switch your major or be a different major in the business school or a different school altogether, or if you want to join a new club or try out something new, like, there's so many opportunities at Rutgers that a lot of other schools might not just be able to offer you. And that's a huge point as well. And the last thing I think, which I kept in mind, was the alumni base. And I think it's like a very downplayed point, right? It's like a lot of schools have alumni, but Rutgers being a big school, we also have a ton of alumni in a ton of great places. And they're literally just an email or a phone call away. And you can literally just talk to someone. I was actually on a call with someone earlier to this who's Rutgers grad, who is at a big bank, and we're just talking about the Rutgers experience and stuff like that. And those like genuine conversations with our alumni is perhaps one of the greatest feeling ever.
And then kind of to add on to everything that was already previously mentioned, I think when I came to the open house, and I took a second to actually just flash back 3 years and put myself in your shoes. I remember talking to everyone, and they had like a bunch of, all the clubs had like a table, and you were actually just talking to the students, and their ambition was so, I mean, it was so clear, and you could see that drive to be very successful. I think that was something that really stood out, and it just made me want to be a part of that community. And at the same time, I realized like these are the types of peers I want, and these are the type of people I want to surround myself with, especially because it's very easy to just sit back and relax and, you know, enjoy the ride. But at the same time, I think that the ambition of Rutgers students stood out so much. And it made me feel like, okay, it's like, this is something I want to be a part of. And these are the types of people I want to be surrounded by.
Yeah, I agree. And I also wanted to say, like, for me, at least, it was definitely the idea that there's so many clubs and organizations to join. I know we spoke about this earlier, but there truly is so many different clubs and organizations to join. And I think it's something that you realize once you step foot into Rutgers, that there is so much that you can do to understand your different interests, your different paths you want to go down, and like in terms of career, or even just like doing something that you're passionate about. I think Rutgers does a really good job in terms of encapsulating all three of those aspects. And I think that was definitely something that swayed me in committing to Rutgers as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I think that those are all really good points. And I'm sure, you know, that's applicable to a lot of you. And I'm sure that there are other reasons, you know, that you're also looking into. So I think if you have any questions, you know, feel free to reach out to anyone at the university. We have ways to connect you with students. If you want to get connected with these students, if you want to reach out to Matt and Sangeeta and I about these opportunities. Christine obviously also has insight into this. I want to have Matt put up again these slides just so you can see how to get in contact with us and check out some of these opportunities a little bit more closely as you're making your decision. So.
Thank you, Hannah. And one last thing, actually, before we get to that slide. And so a lot of people, a lot of our panelists talked about the importance of time management and about keeping track of everything that's going on. Again, Rutgers is a very big school. RBS, again, 20 plus clubs. You know, there's a lot going on. And one of the programs we have is called the RBS Engagement and Leadership, or Real Experience. And what this essentially can do to help you schedule is kind of like a calendar of events. So I'm going to just very quickly show you what the platform itself. So for example, all RBS students will have access to this platform. And again, you can use it as a calendar event, see what's going on. You don't have to worry about points right now. If you come to RBS, we'll explain more about the platform. But what I wanted to show you is just so you'll see all the events happening. For example, we have 2 things happening tonight, going on after this. Students have things going on the 8th. This is a great way to see what's happening at RBS. All the things are organizations. Center for Women in Business has an event on here, 5 Money Must actually, that's coming up. And it's just a great way to see everything that's happening all in one space. So you can, you know, just start there and see anything that you're interested in attending. That being said, again, these are some important links as well as ways to stay connected with us. I'm going to try and post these in the chat as well. And again, please do stay connected with us. We're on Instagram at RU_business, as well as mentoring at RBS_mentoring. Connect with the Office of Mentoring Programs on LinkedIn, like us on Facebook. And again, I will be posting these sites in the chat. And I don't know, Christine, if there's a way to share these slides with everyone here or not.
Matt, we did get a question in the chat from Melanie. She wanted to know what the site was called. I think that you just showed.
Oh, that's
Probably can't
so
access that until they're a
it's
student.
accessible only to RBS students, but it's a website called Suitable, so it's available at app.suitable.co. But again, it is closed to only current students in RBS.
So Melanie, you know what that means? You need to hit the button. I can't tell you that, but I'm going to tell you to hit the button. So thank you guys. Matt, if you could just maybe put up the website in the chat box, that might be easier so that they can access where to find all of this fantastic content. You guys, this student panel, I always learn something from our students. I am blown away by each and every one of you. It doesn't matter who I meet at the business school, whether it's Jay from a first year to Olivia, who's a senior, and everybody in between. I learned something from each and every one of you, and I have been doing this a very long time. Let the gray hair speak for itself. So I hope those of you who are participating in this call will log on tomorrow for our next live session at 6:30. We kick off with the Office of Career Management. So I know there's always a lot of questions about employment and who's coming in and recruiting and the Big Four and how do I go out and get a job? How do I get an internship? So you don't want to miss that. That will be a live chat tomorrow at 6:30. On Saturday, this Saturday, April 10th, we kick off with the big shebang. And I know you students, you've been robbed. Usually we do this in person. Kushi was talking about when she attended admitted student open house. That's like my Christmas day. I get to meet all of you new students that have worked so hard and been admitted. We are doing the best we can to deliver excitement to you virtually. I know you're zoomed out. I have a high school student at home. He's done. He's fried. He's over this, but really attend these sessions. There's a lot of great content. Dean Markowitz kicks it off at 9, Dean Schnatter at 10. So lots of great content. And then next week, we kind of move forward with live sessions for each of the majors. But in my opinion, again, this was one of the most important sessions that you could attend because you need to know how to get engaged. It all starts with planting your seed and watching it grow and looking how much you're going to change over the course of the next 4 years. So thanks for taking an hour to be with us. Thank you for this fantastic student panel, and Dean Rayo, Hannah, Matt, thank you so much. It's always something that I learn from you guys. So thank you. The session is recorded. It'll be up on our website by tomorrow, so you can find it on the RBS website. If you missed anything or want to reach out to anybody, all the content is going to be there. So everybody stay safe. Have a great night. And I'll see you all tomorrow at 6:30 because I'm on every single one of these calls.
Thank you.
Christine.
Have a nice day.
All right, guys. Bye.